Hi, I'm theciaellis, and welcome to this Grandma's Life podcast. Um, I am your host, theciaellis. Get ready to laugh, learn, and grow with me as we exploring old in an ever-changing world. I'm getting older, and I've had a fascinating life. Even now, I'm passionate about many things, and I care about my country. And I love to learn. I love quotes, and I'm messing this all up. I'm sorry. It's been a day. Sorry. Anyway, join me as we even as we age. All right, this is July 17, 2026, and this is episode 98, and it's called Wondering If It's Worth It. In this episode, I talk about my return to the farm, but first, I would like to catch you guys up on. I've been doing it really has been busy around here. Not too long ago, I have a friend that lives up the road from here, and we spent the day wandering up and down and looking for mullein, and we harvested a whole bunch of. I'm not sure what she's doing with the flowers on them, and then she harvested some leaves too, and it was just spend a couple hours with her. It was hot, but we went out there and just had a nice time. Well, actually, when we were done, we went over to her house and little pool and chatted some more. So it was just a good day, and I liked it. My little 4-year-old granddaughter, Ivy, she is getting come with me to church on Wednesday night. She's been coming to church with me on Sunday mornings and stuff, but Wednesday night is a completely different thing. It was almost chaotic. There's kids running everywhere. We feed them, and so there's kids her age. There's kids. They're all ages. And I tell you what, as small as churches we have, it is so vibrant. The kids and adults and stuff. It's not one. I mean, there's plenty of us old folks there too. Don't get me wrong, but we always have. Well, we have a few in the nursery even, and Ivy gets to go to the preschool class, and there's 4 or 5 kids in there. And so I don't know. It's just really nice. And even though Wednesday night is chaotic, she gets to the playground if she wants to. She plays with her friends, and then and she doesn't really eat the dinner because I think she's too excited to be with her friends and do stuff. And they actually have classes. They get one place and they have a little bit of something, a little bit of singing, and then they split up and go closer to their own age groups to have classes then too. And it's just really nice for her, and I'm really grateful for that. And then Kinzie, my granddaughter, and her fiance, they've been kind of traipsing around the country doing stuff with the company that they're working for. And they actually got to come home for a few days. They were planning on staying here for about a week, but then they had an opportunity down in Texas, and they jumped at the chance. And so they're down in Texas now. I'm so proud of them, but it sure was nice to be able to see them for a few days too. And for Lakota to see his mom and his grandma, all that is important. And so I'm glad. It's really cool. So I was happy when they showed up. I got to have lunch with the cousins not too long ago. And that was nice. And I say the cousins, these are Tom's cousins. They're so good to me. And we get around, every few weeks or so, we actually get together and sit around and have a nice little lunch together and chat and show pictures of grandbabies and everything. And it's just fun. And I really enjoy it. And I like doing it. We did have kids camp. I have done some video, at least one video in the past of kids camp. Because I have a job now, I did not participate in it too much, but it's cool. I mean, I don't know how many kids they have for kids camp. And they camp right at the church. What's nice about it is they just finished doing a pretty significant remodel at the church. So instead of having to come over to the parsonage or do outdoor showers and stuff, all the kids there's like 3 shower stalls. I can't remember, it's 3 or 4 shower stalls, and they just make sure that all the girls go in there and do their thing, get done, and all the boys go in there and they can lock the doors, and somebody can monitor everything that goes on with that. And it's just a really nice setup. The shower stalls are really nice. Everything's nice. The new bathrooms are really nice. They were wanting to remodel, but then of course you know how it is when you have a remodel, you have to make it up to standards. And so we needed to actually move walls to make room for make it handicapped accessible and stuff. So moving walls and moving plumbing and stuff, and then adding showers. It was a pretty big undertaking, and they did a beautiful job, and it's just really nice. Uh, I've been trying to keep my car up and running. It's a good car. Best car I've ever owned is a 2018 RAV4 Toyota. And last time I went in to get it serviced, they told me that I was going to need that my water pump was leaking a little bit, and the serpentine belt was leaking. And they said they usually change out the serpentine belt every 90,000 miles, 147,000 miles on it. So I got the money and I went ahead. I do not ever want to be stranded on the side of the road ever again because of either a water pump or a serpentine belt. So I laid out the money for that, and I just feel better. There's a little bit more stuff I've got to get done with it. No joke, as many miles as it's got on it, and I keep the maintenance, and I'm glad. So, yep, it's a good car. I am wearing it down though, that's for sure. Um, I am part of the Women of Grace planning committee, and I get to help usually. And the lady who runs it says, "Well, we're going to have a planning session, but show up early and dress casual because we're going to be outside." And we're going, okay. Well, she didn't tell us where we were going. Well, she has a beautiful niece that has a wonderful flower garden. Oh my goodness, this woman has so many beautiful flowers, and she actually even provides them for different business on occasion and stuff too. And we got, now everybody wanted to get it. They were allowed to get a bouquet. I mean, the woman even had vases, to put them in. I didn't want one. I just wanted to look. I took a bunch of pictures, and it was just beautiful. And I'm hoping to put those pictures in a video at some point at the beauty of it. They have a trough off to the side, and they keep feed in it so that deer can come by and eat. I think they do that so that the deer don't eat her flowers. But yeah. But while all the rest of the ladies were getting their bouquets together, I just wandered up and down the aisles and took pictures. And I got to where I was taking some really cool pictures because a lot of the flowers were in a condition where that they had something on them getting pollen. I had several with bees and butterflies and different little bugs that were all over these little flowers. And I think I got, and I'm talking about just my phone pictures because I didn't bring my camera. I didn't know what we were doing, so I didn't even think to bring a camera or anything. But it was neat. I got some good pictures, and I enjoyed it. I needed it because I'd had a couple of bad days. And I was emotionally kind of down from it. And then we got invited inside their house, and it's shop. But her husband, oh my gosh, he's done beautiful work in there and made it. And it's small, but it's not too bad, honestly. It's actually pretty decent. But it had like an open floor plan. I don't know. But the work he did on it was so good and so beautiful because it was in a shop. It reminded me that that's what I may have to do if I get the land back. I may have to do something to live in the shop. And the beauty of what he had done to that place, I had to go back outside and cry and just sit alone for a while, and because it gave me hope. Seeing the beautiful flowers gave me some hope. Seeing what he had done with just a shop, just a 3-day shop, and how nice it was and how functional it was, it gave me hope. And I did. I just went back out and sat and cried, even though the sun was getting high and it was getting hot. I didn't care. I think it was kind of interesting because I was a little concerned because I'm the only one that was crying and stuff. But the other ladies had said that it was a very healing time for them too, because we're all going through stuff, everybody's going through stuff and trying to handle their lives. And so it was very nice. And I was really grateful for it. And so that was good too. We've had a few storms. I think a lot of the country's had some storms. We had some storms blow through, and I guess it took out the internet at my job and was causing some problems with my copier printer, but it took out the internet. And I didn't know, when here at the house, I have what they call air, I think it's a line of sight thing. And usually, if we don't have internet, it's something that happened at the water tower where the receiver or transmitter or whatever it's called is. And so, like on that next day, I just let it go, letting them have the opportunity to fix it on their own. But the next day after that, I really needed to get the work done. So I called him, and oh my gosh, guys, we're talking about at my job, literally up until yesterday, I was the only employee. Okay. And the people who had worked there in the past, they didn't save anything. And so the first thing I had to do what the PIN number was. Well, there's no documentation of any PIN number for and they wanted to know, well, whoever set it up, what their favorite restaurant was. I don't know. It took me an hour and a half. And at one point, and the woman was nice. But she had to get authorization. But I was getting wound up. At one point, I'm telling her, I said, what would you do if you were me? What would you do? She goes, I don't know. But we finally got it where the next day or 2 days later, I think is what it was, he was able to come out. And my modem was fried because of the storm. The lightning hit something. And so he replaced it for me, and he told me what my PIN number was, and I wrote it down because I'm not going to be at that job forever. Whoever comes after me is going to need to know different things, and you got to record this stuff so that whoever's there after you can kind of have a little bit of a clue on what they're doing. So I don't know, but I called it my epic battle. I don't know, but we got it. And then that weekend, Diana and I, and you'll remember, she and I have taken a couple of trips together. She's been busy. She's had so much going on. She's moved again. She's doing a lot with her daughter that has 5 kids and stuff. But we managed to get away for an afternoon. We went out on the kind of close to Grand Lake near here, and went to Crosby's Fish Restaurant and had all you can eat fried catfish. Golly, that's good. And then we went on over into, I can't remember, I think Natural Falls is in Oklahoma, but boy, it's right almost into the Arkansas border. And she had never seen it. And I had done a video on that a few months ago. And it was nice that where we could go see Natural Falls. And she liked it. And I was glad to take her and show it to her. Had an incident. Tom's got an old 69 Super Bee. It's been buried for 20 years in the barn. And I guess the lawyers had gotten together and said that Tom needed to have access to that Super Bee. So because I guess his sister and brother-in-law had come down from Wisconsin, and they were going to buy the Super Bee. And I was not happy about that, because right now the land's in my name, and he's had 16 months to get his stuff together, and he hadn't done it yet. But I had to let him onto the property, and I decided I was going to be nice with it. But it was hot, and I can't begin to tell you how bad that place is. But everything's buried. So James and Tammy and I were going to unbury stuff. But I just happened to be on the phone with Kinzie, and she goes, "What can we do to help?" I'm going, "Nothing. You're in Texas." She goes, "Well, let me call Lakota." And I tell you what, that young man made some phone calls, and 2 more young men showed up and helped. I'm so grateful for them. They were happy. They were friendly. They worked hard in a job that was going to go into the next day. If not, it was going to be a good day and a half job. Ended up taking 3 hours. And I was so grateful to Lakota for calling those. I was grateful for the boys who showed up, and it was just, they made points with me, and I won't lie, that was so nice. As 4th of July came, now I'm going to the farm once a day to feed my dogs and the chickens. And on the day of the 4th of July, there were some storms rolling through, and there was, of course, the fireworks all around. And my dogs were frantic. And I didn't think to bring Benadryl for them or anything, because I'm not living there. I'm not dealing with them on a regular basis. And I just show up every day and pet them and brush them down and feed them and make sure they got food and water and stuff. But that day they were so wound up, and they're just big, and they're trying to get into the car they actually got into the car. And at one point, Beethoven, the biggest dog, had tried to crawl up underneath the dash and was sitting on the accelerator, and I'd already had the car started. So, I mean, he's sitting sitting on this generator and the engine's just ramping up. And I finally got him out. I finally able to get them calmed down enough to get him out. I can go home, but it was a hard day too. I hate that I can't stay there. There's no place for me to stay at the farm at this time, so I couldn't stay to comfort them and be with them. So I didn't. I had mentioned that we have a new employee. Actually, I think it's going to work out. She used to come with somebody and quit last year, and that's when I became the new town clerk. But she's got a lot of knowledge, particularly with the governmental part of it stuff. I can do some of it, but because I didn't have the information, my hands were tied on things. And so she's coming back. We're not spending a lot of time in the office together yet, but every once in a while she's helping me because there's some things I haven't been able to do because I can't even find the documentation to be in compliance with some things. And so it's going to work out. And she's not even going to be in the office that much because she's going to be running around doing all kinds of other stuff for the town, which is actually very cool in a lot of ways. And I think together going to make a really good team, and I'm looking forward to it. We'll just have to see how that goes. Last Friday, I had gotten a call. We went on Friday, but I had gotten a call from some old gym friends, and because we used to have a really cool class at gym together, and a couple of them connected with me, and they said they were going to go down the Illinois River last Friday. What did I want to go? And I'm going, yeah. And then there were two new ladies that were there that I didn't know. Of course, they all knew each other, from one thing or another. And there were 5 of us. We got kayaks. The river was up, but it wasn't way too up. It wasn't so up that it was dangerous, but it wasn't so low that it was, a pain in the back where you're rubbing on bottom all the time. But it was just a perfect day with some beautiful friends. And it was something I just needed. I needed to get away and have a good time and float down the river with some friends. And I got sunburned, but I didn't care. I had sunscreen on, but you know how it is when you're on water, you burn it more easily. But it was just a wonderful day with wonderful friends. And I was grateful for that. And then on another thing that was happening, it was cool. See, I've had a lot of stuff going on. It was cool because we've been talking about the sewage lagoon at work, and the lawyer for us, he has a drone, and he had said that he was going to go out and fly his drone over lagoons to see what we needed to do so we can get some upgrades and all that other stuff, and want to know if I wanted to go. And I'm going, yeah. So I ran out there whenever he was out there, and his beautiful wife was there. She was so friendly, and I was so grateful to get to talk to her while he played with the drone. And he got some good footage, and I'm looking forward to seeing it. And hopefully we can make some good decisions with what we need to do with his drone footage. But it was so cool to be able to go out there. I've been wanting to go out there and look at the lagoon and see what's going on with it anyway. And so it was neat to be able to do that, and I was glad to do it. I went to When Tom first got hurt, his sister came down from Wisconsin, and she spent a lot of money, got the electricity turned on, and she said it should last for 2 or 3 months or longer. I went, okay. Well, I didn't think too much about it. I go out there. I don't even go inside the house too much, but I went inside the house, and I was packing up some dishes because I don't know if I'm getting the land. So I'm taking the stuff that's mine and that is worth it to take. And so I then just packing up some dishes and stuff. And for some reason, I just thought, well, I wonder how full that freezer is. So, the refrigerator freezer. I know that it's been sitting with electricity off for a long time, but I thought the electricity was still on, and I opened the door, and this huge container, it was not huge, but it was a big old bag of raw something fell out, and it was covered with maggots. And I just was so upset. And once I got over it, a couple of days later, I called the electric company and see if I can get the electricity in my name. Because I even had to talk to my lawyer. I said, what if I don't get the land? I'm going to be spending the money getting the electricity hooked back up. But if I don't, man, the stench is going to be oh my gosh, it's just going to be bad. It's dangerous. I won't lie. It's dangerous. But he decided it was probably a good idea to go ahead and get the electricity turned on. So I did. I got it turned on in my name, and it's going to come because everything that goes to Tom's name is going to a different address. So I couldn't really have the the electric bill or anything sent to the farm, so I got it where it's sending over here to the parsonage, and maybe I can keep some of the bills. I need to. I've already paid 2 months of water bill, but I need to get the address changed on that too. So yeah, at least and I went back yesterday and we have electricity again. I'm a little bit sore today. I was sitting in my chair and I leaned over too far and fell out of the chair. And I scared our new lady to death. I'm sore, but I'm not too bad. Okay, what I'm listening to, I'm still listening to How to Change Your Mind by Michael Pollan, and well, I mean, because I'm on the second listen for that. That's been an interesting book to listen to, and I'm also listening to older. I didn't know it was older until he started talking about putting money in a telephone uh, and a payphone. I thought, oh, this is an older one, but it's called Fear Nothing, and that's by Dean Koontz. But I've also just recently started listening to. I listen to devotionals. Read devotionals, and I even do the podcast Faith Fuel with it. But I thought I'm going to try to start doing listen to. So I listen to the New International Version at the same time as I'm doing now. What I'm reading is Soup by John Gordon, and that's I thought it was kind of a novel, but it's also one of those little novels that tells a story about how to be a better business owner and leadership and stuff like that. So I'm reading that one. I just last night finished These Happy Golden Years, Laura Ingalls Wilder, one of her books I had not read, and I have to admit, I've got an older version of it. It's a beautiful older version, but I like her. She's really Laura Ingalls was a really good stuff. So I'm considering buying another set that is not as if I write in it or do highlighting, I won't feel so guilty about it. I don't know, but I didn't do highlight that one. So I'm not going to do a podcast on a highlighted podcast, but I don't care. And since I just finished that one last night, I'm going to be doing The Force of Lost Souls. I'm going to start that one tonight by Dean Koontz. So that'll be that one. Okay, quote of the week. It is, letting go gives us freedom, and freedom is the only condition for happiness. And this is by Nyat Han. He was born October 11, 1926 in Vietnam. And when he grew up, he became a Vietnamese Buddhist monk, a peace activist, author, a poet, and a teacher, amongst other things. And he promoted deep listening as a non-violent solution to conflict. I'm not sure how you do that, but apparently he did that. He began training to be a monk at the age of 16. And he did a lot of stuff advocating for peace in a whole bunch of areas, but he died in January 11th, 2022 at the age of 95 years old. He lived in a nice long age. Now I'm going to go back over this quote again and tell you why I chose it for this. It says, letting go gives us freedom, and freedom is the only condition for happiness, by Thich Nhat Hanh. I'm trying to decide whether I should let go. Like I'm saying, the main subject is wondering if it's worth it. I have temporary ownership of the property, but it is destroyed. It's destroyed. Everything is completely. It's been so hard. The condition of the house. There's no water, and now we have electricity again, but there's no water to the house. A brand new toilet is busted. It's just garbage everywhere, clothes everywhere. There are holes in the wall. There's holes in the floor where you can see the ground. There's holes on exterior walls where you can see outside. There are holes in the interior walls. There's a window that's busted out. And I don't know if I had told you this, but last spring, for some reason, he had torn up the back door. And the only thing that was for the back door was a Trump flag. And he has taken that down. He put another door in it, but it's like got a half-inch gap all the way around it where it just didn't fit right. So yeah, and it's full of mice, and it's full of rats and garbage. It's just terrible. The stench is bad. Kinzie said she went last year. She goes, the flies were so thick you could hear there was just a major buzzing all the way through it. So I don't know. But this was my home for better or for worse. I mean, it was my home in my marriage. You marry for better or for worse. And it has not been a fun marriage, but you learn to work around things and stuff. And when he was going through his long depression periods, that's when I had my whole life around it, is when he wasn't in his depression periods that was made it difficult for me to figure out how to function, because he would go for several years without being a part of the family at all of a sudden he needs to run the whole show and spend a lot of money and stuff. It was so, but that was my home one way or another. That house was never a really great house in the first place. It needed a lot of work, and now it's not even worth it. My Sunday school teacher, he goes, well, we can take it down to the bare bones. I'm going, no, I can't do that. I can't do that. It's not worth it. It's not worth it at all. I can't keep the skirting up. You've seen my videos for, maybe this will keep my skirting up. My pigs are gone. I have no idea where they are. Nobody can even tell me where my pigs are gone to. And so the rabbits. And the only thing that's left is a handful of chickens and my dogs. I'm finding very few of my personal items. They're either missing, destroyed, or buried. I'm finding a few things, and I got a storage unit to put a few things into, just in case I'm not getting that property. A sewing machine my mother gave me that was a high dollar sewing machine back in the 70s. It's still a good sewing machine. And there's a bookshelf that my dad built. And so just in a box that you put your baby stuff in from your own kids and stuff. There's my books. I'm finding some of my books. A lot of my books are destroyed. One of my bookshelves was out in the rain. It was just all melted and destroyed. There's a lot of things it's bad. It really is. And it hurts my heart every time I go over there, because I find disturbing things too. And it's just rough. But I get to see my dogs every day, and I'm grateful for that. And I'm not sure. The dogs have always lived on that farm, and I don't see any way to take them anywhere else, But somebody did mention the other day that maybe if I do get the land, that I go ahead and just sell everything off and move on to somewhere else. I don't know. If I get the land, it's going to be a lot of work to make it where I can ever even live there again. And I'm trying to decide if it was my home, it was my farm. I loved my life. Beautiful. It's just, there's a vineyard there, orchard. It's a garden area, thornberries, there's elderberries, there's asparagus. And I don't know. It was a life there. I probably won't do too many yet. If I do decide to stay, I'm not going to do a lot of animals. I would certainly keep my dogs, but I'm in the process of figuring out what to do. And because I'm going to be 64 here in a few weeks, and I don't want to do chores at freezing and anymore. And I don't know. I want to be able to do other things too. But I loved my home, and even if I'm trying to decide can I repair it? Can I do something with it? I don't know. We're still in limbo. We got to go back to court here in a couple of weeks and see how that goes. So I don't know. I tell you what would you call it quits if you were me? This was my retirement. Basically, I had set up a life. That even if I didn't have money, I was going to be able to eat. I was growing my own food. Everything was paid for. And it was going to be where no matter what, even if I didn't have any money, I was going to be able to live there. But that's gone. All my animals are gone. Everything that I worked for completely destroyed or gone. And so I don't know. What would you do if you were me? Where would you go even if you called it quits? What would you do? Because that's it. There's no money. There's no anything. And yes, there would be some revenue from selling the land, but long is that going to last? What are you going to do with it? So I don't know. So give me, you can either leave a comment. If you're in the video part, you can leave a comment below, or you can send me an email at theciaellis@gmail.com. See what you think. What do you think? It's too early to state right now anyway, but as you can tell, I'm thinking about it. I would like your view. Okay. I do have an Amazon affiliate. I think what I could do is I'm going to leave in the link some of the books that I have been like reading, maybe Laura Ingalls Wilder cookbook and a couple of Dean Koontz books. You can go through the Amazon affiliate for those. And if you don't order them, that's fine. But if you're in the link, order something else, I would get some credit for that too. And that would be helpful to me. And I would really appreciate it. I would appreciate if you tell other people about this, podcast. There's always something to talk about and do, so we can do that. So give me a 5-star review if you could. Where I can be found, there's several places, but what I'm going to tell you about today is Grandma's Homestead YouTube channel. Now, the YouTube channel, man, I was this close to being monetized on it, and then because there's this. Oh no, yeah, Grandma's Homestead. I don't know, but Grandma's Homestead, where I was on working doing stuff. And then when I got kicked off of the farm, then I did a lot of cooking. And I'm not going to lie, I've been having a little bit of trouble with creativity because the ups and downs of this. I don't know if I'm going back to the farm. I don't know what to do in various things. And I enjoy cooking, but right now there's just me and one other person, and she can't eat half of what I try to cook. And she eats at a completely different time than I do too. So I've kind of lost my creative edge for a little bit. It won't be gone forever, but I am struggling with that too. But you can still look at, Grandma's Homestead, the YouTube channel. If you want to, you can look at some of the old stuff when we were keeping bees or when I was building chicken coops or on the roof doing flashing and stuff. I don't know. There's plenty to look at, and you can check out there. And if you want to look at the cooking stuff, you can too. All right. That's all I got for you. Help me out, guys. Help me figure out what to do. God bless. And remember to live until you die. See you next time.